It's really interesting. If we look back in history at Halliburton and Aramco's profitability, let's just say, we also need to look back at John Bolton himself and how John Bolton was let go of by the president for not getting done what he was supposed to, which means that John Bolton had to explain for himself that he was no longer in the position of where he was. That makes you ask questions like, how does John Bolton promise to the people that pay him, like Halliburton and other defense industry contractors, who also have money in things like Aramco, because I believe Halliburton's a 50-50 owner of it, how do you explain to them that you failed in your mission of creating a war against Iran to make your profitability be there so that way you can get into the regions of Afghanistan, Yemen, or Syria to get more oil because they're pumping sour crude? Now, sour crude takes a lot of time to process, and because the reserves in Saudi Arabia are getting low, there's more sour crude coming up than sweet crude, which means per barrel it's more expensive for them to process. A long time ago, does anybody remember a long time ago? Let's go back a long time ago, 2006, 7, or 8, something like that. The Saudis said to the United States, hey, we're running out of oil over here. And our prices for gas went through the freaking roof. Does anyone remember that? Like $4 a gallon. Yeah, that's right. It went around the world and they said, we're running out of oil. Well, lo and behold, the Saudis suddenly got oil back. Whoa, where'd that oil come from? Well, due to new tunneling systems, you're enabling yourself to go anywhere you want. So you can go underneath the water. You can go into Syria underneath the water there under the premise that you're getting oil for exploration for Saudi Arabia, but you're actually over the border in another country. Now, remember this, and I also want you to take a really good look at what's going on in the bad actors of the field. Now, in the United States of America, we've had to make a crucial decision of, do we support the President of the United States of America? Do we trust honor and dignity, or do we trust the First Amendment? And we always trust the First Amendment first. And that brings us to Khashoggi. Khashoggi, who was murdered. He was murdered and the American people were drawn into it, and we felt heartbroken, disheartened that nothing happened out of it. And so when you look at the threats against the United States of America, do the Americans feel as if the threats against America are Saudi Arabia? I wonder if that question has any validity after 9/11. That being said, the single stratification of what's occurring here because of Aramco and their agreement with Halliburton and possibly John Bolton could mean that the agreement is that these types of attacks have occurred on the inside. And most likely they did occur on the inside because, judging by those drones, they have a very limited range. I would say they have a maximum 2 miles. There's just no fuel in them that wouldn't have reacted, that you couldn't have identified. And now, if you take a look at the satellite imaging of Saudi Arabia and where they got exploded at on those whatever the fuck they are for their oil company, okay, let's take a really good look at how it's on top where it has the feed and bleed off valves. Exactly. They went right for the bleed off valves. They went right for the things that are most opportunistic to be destroyed and yet easily able to be taken care of. Do you know why they did that? Because it can slow down production, and it makes it look like Iran did it. And if they make it look like Iran did it, and it's really United States of America companies working together overseas with other industry officials to make it look like the oil is going to be higher and create a war against Iran, they can seize all of Iran's oil and then possibly take over their fields. Does anybody remember the Iraq War, the first one, you know, with George Bush Sr.? Do you remember us going in there and capping their fields and then taking their oil from them and then redistributing it? Does anybody remember that? Don't forget the past, people. Hey, the big question here is that if it is such a bad thing that Saudi Arabia got bombed, why does anybody give a fuck? No, I mean it. Why don't we care? We're over it. You guys created an empire of glass. Now you're throwing stones. It's a franchise thing. We understand. You don't want us to have better stuff. You don't want us to get ahead. You want to be the dictators of the world through your energy crisis, through your ability to do it. We totally understand. It's cool. Hey, we're totally with you. We understand how it works to be the bully. Yet, don't think that we're stupid. Don't think that we're stupid. We just don't know your names. We just don't know who you are. You make people mad enough, there's no place to hide. That's a shame. It's a shame. You know, the worst thing about this is I'm just an average everyday citizen that sits at home and does nothing all day. I'm just a normal person. I'm not even like a highfalutin person. I'm nobody special. Just an American citizen. So if I know this, I'm sure there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people that know this. The question is, why do you think that the rest of the world is so stupid?